this hour has 22 minutes. With J.B. Dixon, Molly Maguire, Frank McMillan, and Sydney Zabistinchek.
Good evening. Canada's official portrait painter, Michael B. Angelo, was summoned to Rideau Hall last week to sketch a few oil paintings of the new cabinet. In the tradition of breaking news, this hour has obtained video footage of the sketches for an exclusive nationwide first look.
Here we see Sergio Marti, the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration. And, of course, Herb Gray, the new Solicitor General. And Sheila Cox, the new Deputy Prime Minister.
Magnificent work and what wonderful likenesses. Can't wait for the greeting cards.
And Michael Jackson has finished a detoxification program for his addiction to painkillers and is now partaking in intensive group therapy with his peers, Jackson's doctor said today. When contacted, none of those in Michael's peer group would comment. Jojo, the dog-faced boy, said it would not be ethical, and Matilda, the fat-bearded lady, concurred.
The Canadian Union of Public Employees has questioned their affiliation with the NDP. A CUPE spokesperson was quoted as saying, "The marriage is on the rocks." Apparently, they have agreed to let each other have more space in a trial separation, which will let both sides see other political parties. But they are still reportedly arguing over the custody of the ideology.
Last week in Ottawa, newly elected Reform Party MPs gathered together in caucus to renew their commitment to an honest and accountable government.
It's lunchtime.
They met over lunch, which they picked up at the parliamentary cafeteria.
$1.90 for 2 sandwiches. Yeah.
Is that all subsidized?
I don't know. That's a lot more than I pay at Safeway when I usually buy my meals there.
I don't think so. Because in the interests of honesty and full disclosure, we at this hour called the Safeway store in Mr. Epps' riding of Elk Island. And they told us you couldn't even get one sandwich for less than $1.99 plus GST. That's about $2.13, which means 2 sandwiches would come to $4.26. And could we just roll back that tape? Is that 2 sandwiches? Or isn't that just 1 sandwich cut in half? So, I guess, in Reform Party economics, a half plus a half equals 2. Let's just hope that Mr. Epp and his kind never get their hands on the books.
The Ontario government has introduced legislation that would outlaw cigarette vending machines and raise the legal smoking age to 19. But will it stop teens from smoking? We go now to Meadowview Regional High School in Nepean, Ontario, to speak to Mr. X. Hello, Mr. X.
Yes, hello, Sydney.
Mr. X, you're there in the school. What's the feeling among the youth about this new tough anti-smoking law?
Well, Sydney, let me tell you, with this new law, the stores, they're terrified to sell to the teenagers because of this big $75,000 fine attached, right? So, it's a big break for me, right?
How so?
Well, in the last fiscal quarter, hash sales were way down, 15%, and weed was up, but only by 2 points. And acid, well, an acid is like a fine wine. You got a firm market, but it's not huge. So these cigarettes, wow, they're like a gold mine for me,
So you sell cigarettes to children?
Oh yeah, and it's great, right? Because most of these kids, like, they'd normally stay away from me, where I'm like criminally insane. But now they come to me for cigarettes. They see that, like, I'm not that bad a guy. We get kind of friendly, and then later on down the road, they may be back for, like, some acid or whatever,
So kids go to you to buy cigarettes?
Oh, well, it's not only me. Like, there's a guy in grade 10, but between me and you now, he doesn't have the brands that I do. And I've got it all. I got the Export Egg Green Death No Filter with the Smoking is Cool label. It's my personal touch. And for Christmas, I'm offering gift packs.
Mr. X, does it bother you that you're selling the most deadly and addictive drug available today?
Hey, it's a free country, Sydney. I'm not twisting anyone's arm here. Now, perhaps I could interest you in a package of Cameo Extra Mild Menthol Slims for girls with the smoking will keep the pounds off label.
Sorry, Mr. X, I'm going to have to call the police.
Oh, are you now? Where do you think I get my hash?
The street lights are on. Do you know where your kids are? We'll be right back.
It's the story the Canadian government did not want you to hear. He is the little guy from Shawinigan. She is the blonde bombshell from the American Midwest. They met on an airport strip in Seattle and shook hands. Days later, he backed down from his tough stand on NAFTA.
You know, I don't know if we'll get everything we want.
Coincidence? The handshake that sold out a nation. Tomorrow on Firm Copy.
Former Conservative Prime Minister Kim Campbell has a new boyfriend. Kim is a genius, says her Russian-born boyfriend, Gregory Lechtman. Lechtman says, I'm absolutely fascinated by her. Unfortunately, few Canadians seem to share the boyfriend's fascination, as sales for the innumerable biographies of the short-lived Prime Minister continue to plummet. But if you've got a Jones for a copy of Kim Campbell's Above the Shoulders, you may have a hard search, as most booksellers have returned the books to publishing houses or had them hauled off to the dump. You may, however, be lucky enough to find one lingering in the bottom of a remainders bin. Last week, Ms. Campbell hosted a Tory fundraiser where Ms. Campbell said that she was responsible for the Conservatives' disastrous showing in the federal election.
Yeah, of course that jerk Brian Mulrooney had nothing to do with it.
Oh. Isn't that just like a woman? Oh, I'm sorry. It's all my fault.
I understand, yeah.
Don't kick the wall.
It's all my fault.
It's all my fault.
It's all my fault.
Well, the first condom for women is about to hit the open market. Does it work? Our consumer reporter is standing by.
I have always said you would have to be a man to come with a condom on. And now they have come up with something really crazy. A condom for women. Hey! There's only 2 nerve endings in the vagina anyway, and this thing covers both of them. Oh, George, why don't they just come up with one of those little sou'wester rubber hats to cover the clitorius while they're at it, huh? I took one of these things home, and I couldn't get my head around it. I thought it was some kind of shower cap. And the thing makes a lot of noise, too. It makes so much noise, you think the train is coming. And I'm thinking, hey, the train is the only thing that's going to come with this thing. But the good news. It does protect against HIV and pregnancy. And it has a little rubber ring on the outside, which bumps against the clitorius and can be stimulating. But I wish it was edible, you know? But Tony wouldn't eat it. For this hour, have 2 minutes. I am Caterina Fuentes.
This Hour Has 22 Minutes is proud to present media pundits Stuart Steed and Steve Steele with The Right Answer. Men, we salute you.
Okay, let's start it all off with subsidized national daycare.
Subsidized? Daycare? You know, I think Elvis Presley said it best when he said, and quoting, "Get in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans." Judy Rebick.
Judy Rebick? I don't know. Is it just me? But I saw this on Lauren Green's Wild Kingdom, and the sound of her voice is like a wild hyena in a feeding frenzy. Ontario's new smoking policy.
I say drop the age to 12 years old. Charge them $2 a pack. Let's get this economy growing. Sunday shopping.
Completely against it. What? No one believes in God anymore? On the 7th day, God rested. It's the least my wife could do. NAFTA controversy.
Canada talks the talk, but can't and she walked the walk. It's called survival of the fittest. Ever hear of it? Surrey Legion banned Sikh veterans.
Okay, my gut feeling on this one, go back to your own country. But hey, the guy's 92 years old, he probably wouldn't last the flight. I mean, he did fight in 2 world wars, so really, who cares if he got a lampshade on his head? I suppose they could let him in for 1 beer, but come on. When in Surrey, figure it out. Male nurses.
Male nurses? Is there any need?
Well, that about sums up the week, but first, oxymoron of the week. Labor movement.
And plain old moron of the week? Bob White.
57 weeks in a row.
Incredible.
And that's the right answer.
Are you lonely? Do you want to just talk? Do you have secrets? Do you want to hear my secrets? Hi. Let me tell you my hidden fantasies, my secret desires. I want national daycare, employment equity. I want someone who says, you can have the clicker box tonight, honey. I want a guy who says, sit down, Brandy, and let me get you a cup of tea.
I hate to break it to the mall people, and by mall people, I mean the elusive mall owner. But some of us, just some of us, we happen to go into the store in November sometime just to buy stuff. Regular old stuff. Necessities even. Just because we're in the mall does not mean that we are Christmas shopping. And if I wake up and the car doesn't start and you gotta go and buy a spark plug, the last thing you need is to walk into the front door and have Christmas carols blaring at you on a loop from the minute you walk in to the minute you leave. Don't get me wrong, we all love Christmas. We all love Christmas carols. But the mall people have to realize is we love 12 days of Christmas, not 12 years of Christmas. If I was Jean Chrétien, I would do something about this. I would enact some sort of legislation, because I know for a fact I am not the only Canadian who feels this way. So if I were you, Jean Buddy, I would heed the advice of my grandfather, who said more than once, the PM that waffles on mall reform will be the PM that ruins Christmas for all. And that's not a very good way to go down in history. Hey, Santa.
People are flocking to a maverick clinic in Mexico for daily injections of an anti-aging drug called human growth hormone. These people have lost body fat and increased muscle mass and bone density. Unfortunately, however, one of the side effects may be that men grow breasts. And hey, that's fine, but apparently they're tender. Plus, they get lightheaded, and then they get very grouchy and want to eat a lot of cookies and read magazines, and then they won't shut up about how fat they are, how ugly they are, and how their hair is drastic, and their careers are nowhere. Frankly, I just can't put up with them when they're like that. I just want to go play golf.
The 81st Grey Cup game was played yesterday in Calgary. We now go to our man in the field, Tim McMillan. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
The excitement in Calgary must have been palpable yesterday. Can you tell us what the mood was like in McMahon Stadium? Can you tell us the highlights of this 81st Grey Cup game?
No.
And why is that, Tim?
Because I wasn't in Calgary yesterday.
Where were you, Tim?
Lloydminster. It's sort of east of Calgary a bit.
But you were supposed to be in Calgary, Tim, covering the game?
Well, I decided not to go.
I see. And why was that, Tim?
I don't like crowds.
So you went to Lloydminster instead?
Yeah, I wanted to visit some college friends. I don't like crowds. I get too anxious. You know, I think I might be agoraphobic.
I think that's fair of sweaters, Tim.
But I do have a plan. I bought the paper, I read the sports page, I know the score, and now I want to do some kind of like man in the street response to it all.
So you didn't actually see the game?
No. And I was thinking maybe I I could do a story on the government harassing people. The student loans people call my friends here, and boy, are they ever mean on the phone to these guys.
That's not really a national story, Tim. It's more like something annoying that happened to your friends.
So you don't like the streeter idea either?
I think you'd better just wait till next year, Tim. And, is that my trench coat you're wearing?
Just a sec.
Hey, what the hell are you doing here? Hey, is that a long-distance call?
No, it's a select call.
Ah, what are you doing wearing my bathrobe?
Ow, you're hurting my arm.
Thank you, Tim, for that report. And good luck with your angoraphobia.
Well, she's clean as a whistle, and she's still in her tub. It's time to check in with Merg Delahunty. Merg?
Hi, I'm Merg Delahunty, and I'd just like to say, forget it. Get a hot bath. And like the Romans were so fond of saying, bene leve, have a good wash, while you still can, before the NAFTA diverts all our water down to the Yanks. And once we turn on the tap for that crowd, my darling, there'll be no turning it off. Oh, I should know. Sure, I was engaged to be married to one of them one time, a fella from Colorado, and that crowd. My God, they couldn't turn around, but they had to have a shower. They were the greediest crowd of water gobblers I ever had the misfortune to run across. And then they had to have the hottest old kind of showers because they had hides on them like saddlebags. And that's energy, our energy, running down their northeast corridor like a river, running those big fat American air conditioners, keeping them sweaty, overfed Yanks at a certain temperature so they don't start stinking up the entire continent. And yes, he did break off the engagement, but I'm over all that now. And personally, I don't care that my country, Canada, is considered to be a vast water tower and oil tank preserve convenient to the United States. And I would like to refute once and for all the charges that I'm just a bitter old bag who couldn't possibly understand the ins and outs of international trade. Oh, I understand them all right, my darling. This is a big, absorbent, thirsty towel which will suck the water right off me. NAFTA makes me feel all cold and thirsty.
Canada may very well have a reputation worldwide as a compassionate peacekeeper, but at home, real tears flow. Out-of-work MPs and cabinet ministers are suffering the ravages of unemployment. Before this segment is over, 17 recently defeated MPs will have to buy Seagram's 5-star versus Crown Royal. 5 recently defeated cabinet ministers will tell their kids to fly in the back of the plane when they come home this Christmas. And at least one former finance minister will wake up in a cold sweat, realizing that he no longer has access to the private jet. Please, help Joe. What's he supposed to do? Everywhere he goes, people just laugh at him and point. Help Stephen. He'll not be invited to one Christmas party this season. And help Perrin, just 43 years old and expected to get by on a pension of just $70,000 a year. Once, they were somebodies, and now because of you, they're nobodies. They've had time to think about it. They've said they're sorry, and now they need your help. Call the number on your screen right now.
For just $16 a day, you too can sponsor a nobody. You'll get updated information on them, what boards they've been appointed to, what privatization deals they may be involved with, what 12-step programs they have signed up for. But most of all, you'll help them to continue to enjoy the kind of lifestyle that you could only imagine.
Call now. For God's sakes, call now.
that sock back on. Take your toe out of that trigger. We got weather coming up with Mademoiselle Monique Lafarge.
Okay, the wind is going to blow, but we don't have to talk about that. It's not bothering us. It's just tight instead of stocking, something heavier on the leg, and of course, a lot of taxi, and of course, taxi, taxi. It's a sexy word and fun to say and easy for anyone, even English people, and you know, they can be pretty stupid people. Okay, so it's going to be chilly, and so that's okay because maybe you eat a little bit too much with one of your lovers and you want to cover up because you feel a little puffy, so you can pull your collar up tight like that. That's good. And maybe it's going to be snowy, and of course snow is going to melt on your beautiful face, causing moisturizing and poetic glistening. And it's still a little bit fall, so there's going to be leaf. And leaf are going to be great because they're the color of your beautiful aging Montreal woman hair. And for maximum effect, you're gonna want to be around some duck because the duck are going to quack, and that's funny. And then you look so young when you laugh. So it's winter time. You pull your clothes in tight and you think about, you think about him and you think about fireside toe sucking and the red, red wine of winter coming. And of course, as always, the joy of being French. Rain or shine, still the best thing to be.
Well, that's the way we saw the... So, how'd you all spend your weekend? Frank?
Well, I think I'll just head up on to the lake.
No, Frank. Last weekend. How'd you spend last weekend?
Well, I figured I'd just motor on up to the cottage and board her up.
Well, there's always people in hospital and people in prisons to visit. Not that I know any.
Water.
I think we can all agree with that.
Well, winter's here.
That's right.
Following closely on the heels of fall.
Yes, and before you know it, spring.
Oh, spring.
And then summer.
And then summer.
Summer.
My favorite.
Winter, autumn.
And, well, that's the way we saw the world this week.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.